Chairs screeched across the tiled floor. 3 men in gleaming suits, breath heavy with beer, filled the room with their laughter and shouts. Eyes turned toward them, unease spreading like smoke. A young woman's arm was yanked. Her face tight with fear, her gaze darting, desperate. In the corner, Sarah gripped her glass, eyes scanning, every muscle coiled. A voice cracked the air. "Let me go." It was swallowed by drunken laughter. Sarah rose, steps firm, voice steady. "Enough." In 15 seconds. Everything inverted. A wrist snapped sideways. A body slammed hard against the floor. A strike to the neck, a stumble into shattered glass. 3 men who moments earlier ruled the room now gasped for breath at her feet. The restaurant froze. Then whispers erupted, phones lifted, cameras flashing. 15 seconds, but the aftershock would echo for months. If you're listening now, drop your flag in the comments. Let's see how far justice travels. Her name was Sarah Martinez. 32 years old, Navy SEAL. 18 months at sea had finally ended, and the silence of civilian life felt almost unnatural. Tonight she wanted only one thing: a quiet meal without orders, without ranks, without the weight of command. In her wallet, folded carefully, was a photo of her daughter. Tiny hands outstretched, eyes bright with the wonder of someone just learning to walk. Sarah traced the edge of the picture with her thumb, as if grounding herself to a world far away from combat zones and steel decks. Yet, even in peace, echo followed her. One mistake and the whole team pays the price. That sentence, drilled 1,000 times in training, pulsed in the back of her mind like a second heartbeat. She had chosen simplicity tonight, a plain black dress, flats instead of boots. It was the first time in nearly 2 years that she wasn't wrapped in the rigid fabric of a uniform. On the menu, she didn't hesitate. Chicken parmesan, her old comfort, her reminder that normally still existed somewhere, and still the soldier within her refused to rest. She chose the corner booth deliberately, the spot that gave her full view of the room, the families at long tables, the couples leaning close across candlelight, the bar where voices already rose a little too loud. She sat angled slightly toward the door, her mind noting distances, exits, movements, a habit she couldn't erase, a survival instinct she no longer questioned. She was here to eat, to breathe, to belong. Yet she remained on guard, a warrior, cloaked in the quiet disguise of an ordinary diner. My name is Richard Hayes. I'm 55 years old and I am the CEO of Bella Note. 180 restaurants spread across the nation. For 20 years, I've worn suits, spoken on stages, smiled for magazine covers. That polished image was my armor, and the company's reputation was the legacy I guarded. But tonight, that armor means nothing. I wear old work clothes, the kind that smell of dust and grease. I've tied back my hair, rubbed grime on my hands, because no one can know who I am. A 15-second brawl has detonated like a bomb across the media. 3 men sprawled on the floor, a woman who fought like no civilian should, and my restaurant in the background, its name stamped on every headline. Insurance firms are circling, already warning of suspensions. Years of trust and credibility could be erased overnight by the echo of one night's chaos. So, I decided to vanish from the boardroom and step into the kitchen back door. Not as CEO, not as owner, but as someone invisible. A man fixing pipes, changing bulbs, mopping spills. A man no one notices who can listen, observe, and piece together the truth. Why undercover? Because the reports don't add up. Some employees whisper of a hero. Others mutter about liability, lawsuits, management cover-ups, and somewhere in the middle stands that woman, Sarah Martinez. If I want to save this company, I must first understand what really happened in that 15-second storm. Not from the polished words of lawyers or the cold lines of press releases, but from inside, among my own people. That is why I am here, dressed as a maintenance worker, walking into my own restaurants as if I were no one at all. The contract is worth hundreds of millions. A single clause stands out like a blade. In the event of serious violence, the insurer reserves the right to terminate coverage. The night Sarah fought, the restaurant was recorded as a serious violent incident. For the insurance firm, that was enough. They didn't care about nuance or courage or intention. To them, it was a red flag, waving over every Bellinode location across the country. Inside the company, my manager, Rick, filed his report. His words were blunt. Patrons were attacked by a woman. No mention of harassment. No mention of 3 drunken men pulling a young woman from her seat. Just a line that painted Sarah as the aggressor. The